Welcome back to Sports at Shaw. Now is usually the time we talk about anything and everything to do with the world of sports. However, tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. You may be familiar with the hit NBC television show Deal or No Deal. Well, we like to call this segment of our show Fan or No Fan. Here's how it works. We have 17 numbered bags with the names of sports personalities or events. One by one, our guests will select a numbered bag. My lovely assistant, Jessica, will bring a bag, and I'll share with you and our guests its contents. The guest who selected it will then be asked to say whether or not they are a fan or no fan of that particular person or topic. Okay?
Pretty easy.
Gotcha.
Brand new to the airwaves. It's going to be fun. So, let's start with Sarge. Sarge, give me a number between 1 and 17.
I'll start with number 1.
Number 1. Jessica, you can open it up there, Sarge, and show our
there's
cameras.
going to be a chocolate bar or something.
No chocolate bar, my friend. And who?
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds. There he is on the screen, Barry Bonds. Tom, fan or no fan of Barry Bonds?
No fan, and I love baseball, but too much of a prima donna for me. Doesn't, he's a role model and certainly doesn't portray himself in that respect, and so because of that, I don't have much respect for him.
And certainly steroids a big thing. I mean, him and Sosa and Canseco, McGuire. It's really too bad because baseball has taken a big black eye in the last few years.
Well, it certainly has clouded up the game, and I guess there really wasn't many rules. So I guess if there's no rules and it was legal for them to do that, it's tough to question that. But I just forget all that for a sec. Just how he conducts himself with his teammates, with his fans. I just don't think he's the person I would support.
So let me ask you this: asterisk beside his name in the record book, when and if he passes Hank Aaron at 755.
I don't get caught up in that. Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, those are the people you read as a kid. Those are people that I gravitate to anyways. I don't care if he hits 1,000 home runs. It's, it's who you respect and who you believe in, and he's certainly not one of those people for me.
Okay, good stuff. Let's go to John. John, 1 and 17. We know 1 is out.
6.
Number 6.
Number
Jessica. 6. All right, John. Open her up. What do we got
here? Taylor Hicks.
Taylor Hicks.
I might need a little help here.
Taylor Hicks. Well, I'll tell you.
Taylor Hicks.
There he is, Taylor
Jeez.
Hicks. If you don't know who Taylor Hicks is, he just recently won American Idol. I don't know how many people watched it. Did you at all? Or
I have actually never seen an episode.
That's okay. Do you want to pass it to Kelly or Tom?
I think that defaults me to a big no fan.
There you go.
A big, huge no fan.
It didn't even interest you enough to tune in.
No way.
Kelly, any thoughts? Taylor Hicks, ever watched the show?
I saw it in the
Idol?
beginning, but I didn't see any of the last 5 or 6 issues or episodes of the program, so I really don't have a comment.
Okay,
Probably
Tom?
no fan again because I don't know.
Well, my daughter's a big fan of the show, so they probably think
Can you
he's
play some of the
okay.
music for us? And
No, I
I'll
could
let
try and sing you some, but I'll tell you what.
Please.
But you were supposed to default it over to me because Taylor Hicks is just bad.
Okay.
And I need to
Right,
let you
right.
know.
No fan.
I'm not a
Well,
fan
there
of
we
this
go.
guy.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay.
That was an easy one.
That was easy. But we'll come back to you in a second. Kelly, 1 and 17. 1 and 6 are gone.
I'll go with 12.
Our lovely assistant Jessica.
Room for the bags.
There you go. Save these bags.
Who do you got, Kelly?
Ultimate Fighting.
Ultimate Fighting, otherwise known as UFC.
Yes.
Ultimate Fighting. Have you watched it? Are you familiar with it? And are you a fan or no fan of it?
Well, this is a tough one because I must admit I do watch it quite a bit. I think it's quite entertaining. I know it sort of emphasizes sort of the brutality maybe our society is coming to. Obviously, boxing was the last sort of the sport where there's the contact, and a lot of people didn't like that. Some people still refer to it now as the pure science. Ultimate Fighting, it obviously takes it to the next level, a little more bloodthirsty, a little more blood and guts or whatever. But again, I sometimes to watch it on television, it's not bad. They do have some rules, though. They do stop it, whatever, but it is maybe overstepping, kind of opening the envelope just a little bit more. So I guess if people want to watch it and there's an interest for it, I'm going to say fan, but obviously this is a controversial one. I'll say I'm a fan of it.
John, ever watched the UFC?
Years ago, I think when the first few seasons were out, and I think I'd get whooped out there. That's for darn sure.
But to watch it,
But I
does
mean,
it
to
interest
watch
you or
it-
not?
I don't know. I find an easy enough way to bang myself up just by myself. Like, I don't need somebody whooping me. Fan or no fan, I mean,
Take it or leave it.
go
eh?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I'm
Knock
not-
your socks
yeah,
off.
No, it's not like Taylor Hicks
Yeah.
or anything. Like that.
Sarge, UFC?
No fan. No, it doesn't
fan,
do
eh?
anything for me. And
Yeah.
No. And I.
Interesting for myself. I mean, I really like to watch boxing, and UFC I started to watch about 2 years ago, and now I hardly watch any boxing because it's gone to another level. And I know it's very brutal, but I often think that some of the guys that get involved in it, some of the guys need something like that. You know, something that aggressive to keep maybe out of bar fights and whatnot. I mean,
sure.
you know, but I am a fan of it. I am. Sarge? Pick another one, another number.
My old number 5, my old hockey number.
Number 5.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. And number
Oh, this is
5.
an easy one.
Number
the
5, we
Edmonton
got
Oilers.
the Edmonton
Edmonton
Oilers.
Absolutely.
And Sarge, right now they are down 2-0.
Huge fan.
Huge fan of the Oilers. Oilers versus Flames. Who you're a bigger fan of?
Ooh, that's a good question. Traditionally, it's always been the Oilers.
Okay.
Always been the Oilers.
Okay. So Oilers, are they going to come back against the Hurricanes or not?
Well, I think when you look, it's been amazing that they've gotten this far. They finished 8th in their division, and to be in the Stanley Cup final, that's an amazing story to begin with. I think they'll have some time to right the ship. Obviously, it's going to come down to some goaltending. I think, you know, certainly the last game wasn't their best effort, but, you know, look what Edmonton's done all year. They will respond, and, you know, they're going to come out competing and giving 100%. They're back at, you know, the Northlands and the Edmonton, the whole bit. So I think that's going to sort of rejuvenate them, give them a little more life, and I think they're going to win Game 3 for sure. I can pretty much put that in the books.
I sure hope so. And I mean, San Jose beat them the first 2 games, I believe, in the first or the last series they were in. So, and they did come back. So I mean, hopefully, John, Oiler fan.
I'm probably not the biggest hockey fan, so we'll get that up there. But absolutely, yeah, I know I'd love
Yeah.
to see them pull this off. And it just seems kind of crazy for. I mean, I'm one of those guys who kind of shakes his head at ice hockey down in those warm,
In the hot
tropical
yeah,
hurricane.
in the southern part of
yeah,
the
it seems to be
States.
like there's maybe other sports, but Oiler fan. I mean, yeah, it's really kind of too bad the way that last game went, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
They got blew out.
Yeah,
Blown out.
and I don't think. I think it was just rattled.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. You know.
Yeah. Kelly, any thoughts on the Oilers?
Well, I'm actually always been a Red Wing fan from the day me and Gordie Howe go way back to the 50s. But anyway, the Oilers have always been my number 2 team, but actually I was kind of cheering for the Oilers all along. Even when they beat the Red Wings, I had a real soft spot for the Oilers. I got an Oiler flag in my car as we speak.
You do?
My daughter
Okay.
lives in Edmonton, sent me a flag last week. So I'm on the bandwagon a little bit with the Oilers. It's funny, when that series started, I think probably a lot of people thought the Oilers were going to win. The Rolison thing, the way they got beat the other night, it's kind of really turned on them, a real about-face turn in 2 or 3 days. But again, as Sarge has mentioned, I think they will come back. They got beat soundly by San Jose the first 2 games. Looked like they couldn't even get out of their own end. So I think they will come back, and I still have confidence they're still going to win the series. But it's going to be tough.
And I really think the crowd, as Sarge referred to, they get back to Northlands. That crowd is nutty, you know, and so that's their 7th man on the ice for them. John, pick a number, 1 to 17.
1 to 17. Oh boy, you got 2, 3. How about 4?
Number 4 for John Storey.
You got number 4. Thank you. Oh.
John, what do you got in the bag?
I've got Ricky Williams.
Ricky Williams. Do you know who Ricky Williams is?
Well, I've never met him, but I've been reading the paper.
Good.
And I'd like to meet him. That's for sure.
Interesting guy.
I think so. Yeah. No, I think.
Quirky guy, interesting guy, soft-spoken guy. And
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
for anybody watching, I mean, NFL running back, Heisman Trophy winner, banned from the NFL this year because of a substance abuse problems, mostly marijuana, I believe. But he's been kicked out, I think, 4 times. So John, a fan or a no fan? I mean, I've seen him in interviews.
He just seems
he's a
like
nice
a great guy.
He seems like a good guy.
I think. No, I think I'd be a fan.
A fan?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Kelly? Fan or no fan of Ricky Williams?
That's a tough one as well. I think it really is. I guess I'd almost have to say a fan as well. I think most of his issues with the NFL have been around marijuana, and again, all drugs are, you can put them all in the same category, whatever. I don't think he's had too many issues with the law or whatever. But of course, the big complaint has been, here's the CFL, maybe not looking after itself the way it should. There's another league that's outlawed a player, doesn't follow their rules, and we're giving him a fourth or fifth or sixth chance or whatever it is. So it's kind of a fine line again. But obviously, he seems like he's a decent enough guy. Hopefully, he is being tested even now as he plays with the Toronto Argonauts. The NFL hasn't given up on him. So I'm going to say fan, but again...
Almost on the fence, though,
I'm really on the fence
Yeah?
on this one, yeah. Because I'm a big believer in the CFL.
Yep. Sarge?
Well, I'm not a fan. I'm a huge fan of the CFL, and
Yep.
so if he's going to endorse the CFL product, that's fine. But here's a individual who has so much potential and ability, and if he can't sort of curb some of his, desires so that he can produce on the football field, well, that's certainly not a teammate that I'd want to be around. So I think, huge fan of CFL. Certainly not a big fan of Ricky Williams.
Yeah. And real quick, though, should the CFL have a drug policy in place?
I think they should. If the NFL does,
Yeah.
we should. I think any environment you have should have standards, should have expectations, and obviously we've opened the door for him to pursue this. I don't think this was even his first choice, but because it was out there, his agent pursued a little bit. I guess he'll play, keep himself fresh, and keep into the game and jump back in the NFL next year where the big money is. But.
Just to carry on with that, and probably that one of the real underlying issue is here. Should the CFL, if it wants to establish itself as a major product or whatever, probably should have some kind of a drug testing program or some kind of a drug program, because people often said how many people play in the CFL knowing that maybe they couldn't even go down and play in the NFL because of the drug policy and whatever. With the CFL, it just doesn't have one, and obviously there's lots of great things about the CFL, but again, if it really wants to try and establish itself and maintain itself as a legitimate league, and it does in 90% of the things, but I think this kind of brings it to a head here that they need to put some policies in place.
Good answers, boys. Kelly, your turn to pick, my
turn?
friend. Between 1 and 17.
I'll go with 16.
Thank you, Jessica.
Let's see
Who do we have in the paper bag? We got a low budget here. So
Oh,
we
we
don't
got
have
John
briefcases.
McEnroe.
Johnny
the tennis guy,
McEnroe.
Well, I like to play a lot of tennis, so I
Is
watched
that right?
John play a lot when he was in his younger days. I can honestly say, though, that I am not a fan of John McEnroe. I think he was just a real poor sport. Obviously, a talented tennis player. He's done quite well as a broadcaster. I think he brings great insights to the game and everything. But for the most part, I think John McEnroe, when he played, really wasn't a good role model for the game. Again, great skills, great player, and some of the things he did, a lot of people didn't realize. He was one of the only ones that would play doubles all the time on the circuit and those kind of things. But very popular individual. You either love him or hate him.
Him and Jimmy Connors, some of the most classic
But he was worse
battles.
than Jimmy Connors.
He was.
John McEnroe in his day. But I think he's matured. Obviously, he was maybe a little immature in those days. So overall, I guess I would say I'm not a fan of John
Not a
McEnroe.
fan? Okay. We'll move over to Sarge. Sarge, another number.
Okay, let's go with number 8.
Number 8.
Thank you.
And who do we have
We have
under number 8?
Mike Tyson.
We've got Mike Tyson, and by the grimace, there's a picture of Mike right there. And by the grimace on your face, Tom, I'm guessing that you may not be a fan of
Not
Mike.
even close. I have no use for, what it. I don't even to spend time talking about him. I just, it's a joke.
Okay. Let's go down the line. John?
Yeah.
Okay.
What he said, pretty much. I mean,
Kelly?
Well, it's unfortunate that he's probably become labeled as probably one of the most unpopular athletes of all time. No doubt about it. The way things have transpired, the way the media's gone after. I mean, he's in a no-win situation.
Yeah.
I don't think he has many fans.
Yeah. And especially he's got a tattoo now on his face.
Well, I've heard, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so, and I feel sorry for him. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
talk
got to
about
the point.
upbringing and
That's
whatnot,
right.
but
Yeah.
boy. John, pick a number, 1 to
what do
17.
you got left? We got like 15 maybe?
We got 15 left.
There you go.
You bet.
Let's see what's
15,
up there.
Jessica?
15?
Oh, Jessica was having a little siesta over here.
That's not a bad idea. Let's see here.
So what do we got at number 15? John? I think we got another John, don't we?
we got a John Daly.
John Daly. Now, John Daly, golfer,
He's a big guy, right?
smoker,
Yeah, right
smoker
there.
and drinker.
Yeah.
Well,
There
there's
he
a
is.
picture
Yeah,
of
yeah,
John
yeah.
leaning on the putter.
Late nights.
Any thoughts on John Daly?
He doesn't look like much of an athlete.
You know,
I'm
he's
sure
a heavy
he's got
guy.
a great swing, and yeah, he can probably really move that ball. But I think golf's more of a leisure
activity,
than a
yeah?
sporting
Not a sport?
activity. I don't know.
You're sitting beside a golfer there.
But it's leisure.
I look like John Daly.
And I don't. Yeah.
Kelly, any thoughts on John Daly?
What do you think?
I'm a fan of John Daly.
Is he a nice guy?
I think he's very down-to-earth guy. I think he calls it as it is. Obviously, he's had some issues, and there's probably a lot of other golfers and other athletes, but he's not afraid to come out and say it. And obviously, he's been caught a few times, and maybe a lot of talent, and maybe he hasn't lived up to quite his potential because of some of the things he's done. But I think he's honest. He's a square shooter, so I say I'm a fan of John Daly. There's no point trying to portray athletes in a certain role sometimes when they're not. He's an honest guy. He has his problems just like the rest of us do.
Does he still
but
play?
He still plays, and he can still really hit it. Yeah.
He's a long ball hitter. He's one of the biggest long ball hitters.
Yeah,
10
he
years
is.
ago,
Yeah.
I mean, when he was.
Well,
I mean, everybody's
fan.
now hitting a long ball, I think, because of technology. But John Daly was one of the first guys that everybody took notice. This guy can hit a ball a long ways. John Daly fan?
Huge
Sarge?
fan. Mr. Grip It and Rip It.
Yeah.
He's won 2 majors. You know, he's probably one of the top 4 or 5 popular people on tour. And as Kelly said, you know what? He's made a lot of mistakes, but you know what? He hasn't backed away from it. He's been very upfront about it. He's trying to change. He is trying to make a difference.
Exactly.
And
He signs autographs all the time. He's really good with galleries.
He's amazing with kids, and he does a lot of the extra things that most of the professional golfers don't do.
Yes.
A
Kelly,
real person.
Kelly, pick a number, 1 to 17.
Oh, is it my turn? I'll go 4.
4's been picked.
Four's been
Oh,
picked.
and you talk
Sorry, I've
lots
got a
about
great
Ricky
memory.
Williams already, so pick another one.
Okay, we got number 10.
Number 10.
Probably couldn't see the number.
No, I couldn't. I didn't see it. No,
Number 10, what do we got in the bag? I think we've
We
got
have-
grapes.
Oh!
Don Cherry.
I think we got Don Cherry.
Funny he would pick that one.
So, fan or no fan of there's Don Cherry, a little picture of him in blue.
Don Cherry. For many years, I was a fan. I think he had brought a lot of good insights into the game. He was a good coach and did a lot of good things. And I think his show on television, obviously, but I think lately he's become a little cranky and maybe a little. I'm not saying the game's passed him by. That might be a little too mean. But for a long time, I was a fan of Don Cherry. But lately, I don't know if if some of his insights and some of the things he talks about are as good. I think he kind of makes a lot of reference to his days as coaching the Boston Bruins. And again, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to not answer that one. I'm going to
right down the middle again, eh?
But
Okay.
right in the middle.
John, any thoughts on Don Cherry?
I think I find him just kind of annoying. And
Especially if I'm Ron
Did you see his
McLean.
suit the other day?
I mean,
I am not a fan of his dress.
His suits are just terrible.
It's gotten worse.
But,
Yeah, it's gotten crazy.
that's good. But I'm sure he's very. He knows probably what he's talking about most of the time. But I
Pretty in your
couple
face
Couple moments of it, and I'm ready to get out of there.
Change the channel.
So
Yeah.
I'd say no fan.
Sarge?
I guess I got to say I'm a fan because, you know, I sort of grew up with him. You know, hockey night in Canada, Saturday night, Don was always there. And, you know, he says things, you don't have to agree with him, but he does get you thinking about things. A lot of things he says, of course I don't agree with. But he certainly makes you think, makes you self-reflect and evaluate the game within itself. And so I think with that, he is serving a purpose and doing a job to a large degree.
Yep.
And he supported Canadian hockey, too.
He certainly does.
He does, and a lot of things that the players stand for. And so lots of good things, but I think maybe, I'm not saying the game's passed him by, but maybe his time has come. That's maybe my best way to put it.
Sarge, we'll probably end the program with you. Pick a number between 1 and 17.
Well, let's go with
controversial.
number 10.
Number 10. No, that's Don
I
Cherry.
just picked number 10. I've got to take it off.
Okay. Unlucky 13 then.
Unlucky 13. Good one to end
Unlucky
with.
13.
Yeah, we'll do it right there. 10 was on the screen, by the way. Okay, and what we have
We
here,
have got
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
Ooh.
Pete Rose, of course, banned from the Hall of Fame years ago. He's got the most hits in baseball history.
4,191.
Yeah.
Fan or no fan?
I'm a huge fan of baseball. Huge fan of Pete Rose until he fell into the situation. And my issue is when he was a manager, because you have so much control, and they said he never bet on the games that he was partaking in. But I guess still to break that code, that's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
Yeah. John, any thoughts on
Pretty
Pete Rose?
sneaky.
Pretty sneaky guy.
No, I wouldn't trust him with.
Yeah.
much. I mean,
I don't know whether you guys remember, and Kelly, we'll get to you, but Jim Gray's interview with him at the All-Star game, was it?
A couple of years ago, yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Pete Rose, Kelly?
Well, I'm not a fan either. I think he got caught lying. There's no doubt about it. I think he bet on his own team, which he denied, and now he's changed that. I'm not a fan. I have great respect of his ability and his skills. One of the great players to ever play the game. But again, I think he really broke the code. That was it. And he got caught, and not a fan.
Yeah. Interesting, our floor director, Curtis Anderson, has informed me that he is in a Hall of Fame. He's in the WWE Hall of Fame. So Curtis wanted me to sort of let everybody know that Pete is in a form of Hall of Fame. As you were. I think we still have time for one more. John, pick 1 to 17 from
how about 17?
our lovely assistant.
Oh, I'm getting a wave.
Oh, we'll fill it in. Go ahead.
Okay.
Real quick.
Real quick.
What do we have?
Steve Nash.
Steve Nash,
That's too easy
Kid
to fan
Canada,
on.
Yeah, I
fan or no fan, and we'll end on this
I think
note.
everyone's a fan.
Well said. How could you not be?
Hard to not be a fan of Steve Nash.
That's talent.
Unbelievable.
Good, guys.
Needs a haircut, though. Does need
He needs a bit of a haircut, doesn't he?
So do you.
Very good.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thanks a lot. This was fantastic. That's our show for tonight. I'd like to thank our guests, Saskatoon Hilltops head coach Tom Sargent, Kelly Bowers from the Saskatoon Secondary School Athletic Directorate, and of course, John Storey from Escape. Thanks to all our crew, and special thanks to Jessica, my lovely assistant, for Fan or No Fan. I'm Russ Warner. Have a great night.
Right on.